Let's start seated today. I think the last couple of times you were standing, so I just started standing. But we'll do this. And I'm going to be doing the class for you, but she's recording me for people that aren't able to get to the class. So I don't really have to pay attention to that. Just follow along. So let's start with our calves and ankles. And if you're sitting with a chair that has a back to it, as we are, we try not to relax against the back of the chair. And really feel the heels lift as high as you can, and then pull the toes up as high as you can. So less about moving through it quickly and more about activating the muscles around the ankle and lower leg. Good. And then let's put the heels out, and now the toes go out and the toes come in. And the knees follow along, so that movement is going up into your hip. Because during the workout, we'll move our hips in different directions. Keep the nose up. So get us warmed up and ready. Let's go 2 more, in and out. And then we'll come back to parallel, and we're going to do a slow march to start. So you'll find the core is challenged when we go slow, because if we lift too high, we'll end up tipping backwards every time. Your chair back will tell you if you're cheating. Good. Now we want to do that with the turnout as well. So turn the feet out and then lift the knees up and out. Just go engage a little bit more on one side of your waist and then the other. As we stay nice and straight and tall in our chair. And then we'll bring the legs back into center. And let's just go fast here just to get the blood flowing. So nice and light on your ball of your foot. Slowly move the feet away from each other. And then bring them back in. Do that one more time. And back in. Good. All right. Now we'll loosen up the hip. So we're going to either hold onto the knee or underneath the thigh and help the leg move with your arms. And that way you can maybe take it out a little further than it was going on its own. And then reverse the direction, but always listening to your body. If your hip doesn't feel comfortable moving out there, then you can make it smaller. And then let's switch over to the other side. Hold some of the weight of the leg. Assist the leg with your arms. The body is staying pretty still on the chair. Let's reverse. Now, for 3 more. And back to center. Alternate leg extension so that we can activate the quad. Right in the front of the thigh, attaching to the knee. We have some knee stability. And again, if we end up being relaxed in our upper body, then we kind of slouch back and do it. We lose the connection of our core, which is going to help us when we stand up. We'll be able to slouch back, we'll lose our balance. Let's go 1 more. Good. And then lift your right leg and swing it out, but don't go so far that you turn your whole body, and then squeeze it into the other leg. Out and in. Starting to activate that outer glute, so when we come to our balance work standing, that muscle will help us along with our foot and ankle. Breathing in and out for 2 and 1. Switch sides, reset the posture, hold the leg up wherever you can hold it. It doesn't have to be that high. It could be down here a little lower, if that feels better. Don't forget the squeeze on the way in. Inner thigh, upper glute. And breathing in and out for 3, 2, and 1. Good. Bring that in and then just take a quick release of the inner thighs and tighten them a little. So we'll stretch them out by pressing our knees out in that little butterfly pose. And then we'll come back in and move our warm up to our spine. So first, bring the arm up and lean over. And if your arm doesn't feel good overhead, you could just do it here, or you could even have your arm bent. That's better. And then we'll come to the other side. Again, leaning over, adding the arm stretch if you can. And then we're going to do the rotation of the spine by turning to the right. Slide that arm behind you if you can and turn to look back as if you're backing up your car. And then we'll come back to center. And then we'll go this way. Pulling that shoulder back over here. Head turning. And back to the center. So even if you don't have a chair back, you can still open your chest. But if we do have a chair back, we can lean over that. It should come right at the shoulder blades. And so we're going to look up a little bit, but don't let the head hang all the way back. Open the arms if that feels like a good stretch for you. And now exhale and wrap your arms around an imaginary ball, pulling your belly button in. And then inhale and open the chest. Exhale. And you keep your own pace of your breathing if it feels good to go a little faster you can. Chin drops here. And then look up a bit. Last one in both directions. Last stretch from the front of your chest. And then we'll sit up straight and tall again and roll the shoulders up and back. Let's activate the upper back muscles for posture by reaching our arms out in front. And then reach your fingertips forward without your body moving forward. And now slide your shoulder blades in toward the spine. Reach forward, good, and squeeze in. And if I turn around a little bit, see more of that. Squeezing in and spreading them apart. Last time, the arms stay straight as we pull the scapula in toward the spine. And then one arm up, one arm down. Again, up could just be to here, or all the way up by the ear, if you can. Let's go one more each side. Okay. And then we're going to turn our head without turning our body. And then to the other side. And now we'll come back to center and take the ear towards the shoulder. So I'm trying to make the space bigger between the left ear and shoulder. And then back to center. And then over to the side. And then we'll do one circle in each direction. So you'll be able to see if there's any pulling that keeps you from making that circle big. And hopefully after we worked through the whole body in the workout, go the other way, we'll notice a little bit less tension at the end when we stretch out our neck. Okay. So let's go ahead and come to a standing position and get into a little bit of the balance work. So if you're doing this at home, you can have a chair or be standing next to the wall so that if you need to hold something, you can. The first exercise is just lifting that foot off the floor. You decide how high to lift it. And then if you need to be touching something to stay balanced, or if you can let go. Good. Now you can see why we warmed up this glute. This is helping us to balance. And then we'll switch to the other side. Tighten this glute. Stay up nice and straight and tall. And if one side is more wobbly, sometimes just touching something will settle things down. And then we'll come back up. So let's do a couple of the movements that we did in the chair. So we were moving our arms, but we were sitting. So how about if we go back to that first side, and you either move one arm and hold the other arm here, or try moving both arms. Even if you needed to touch the chair when you come down, one more time. Yeah, good. And then we'll switch sides. So that's an easy way to make the balance exercise more challenging. In real life, we don't usually get to just stand still with one foot off the ground. Usually it happens that we're moving our body some way, and the foot comes off the ground and we lose our balance. One more. Back and forth. Good. So if you'd forgotten what side is your stronger balancing side, that showed you right away. So that just means that we need to, as we're going along, really focus on that whole outside of the hips and our waist. So not to get into any cheating where we're moving our body. So let's try that one with the leg coming out to the side. And you could either just tap the foot out to the side and bring it back, or lift it just off the floor and bring it back. I don't want to go too high because then my foot will turn up to the ceiling and that will work my muscles in a different way. And then we're also making sure that we don't lean over to get the leg up higher. So this is a good way to work both of the outer glutes. The lifting leg, but also feel the tightness in the standing leg. One more. And then we'll switch to the other side. Again, I'm going to be near enough to my chair that on this leg that's not quite as good for me, I'll be able to touch if I need to. Yeah, just checking in to make sure your body feels like it's growing taller as the leg lifts. And you're squeezing the standing glute. So, breathing with each one. I like to take my inhale when I'm resting and then exhale as I'm lifting. One more. And back down. Okay, so now we're going to move the arms while we balance. But we can do this a little faster if you want. So we're going to bring either one arm up with the leg or both arms up. So it looks like a jumping jack. So here I want to make sure I'm not leaning over, right? And then you could also bend down just a little into a slight squat. Reach. Modifying to just the legs if that's working you. Alternating back and forth makes it a little harder to balance and stay tall. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Hey, everybody feel those muscles were connected now? Okay. So we don't want to fatigue them, but we're going to come back to them in another exercise. First, we'll take our dumbbells and get into an arm exercise. And then remember, sometimes these weights feel good when our arms are close to our body, like the curl. But if we're going out in front or overhead, we might have to go a little lighter. So I'm going to have my feet right under my hips. And I'm going to keep the elbows at my side as I pull the dumbbells up toward the shoulder and down. So we'll layer on the leg and balance work to the arm exercises. Now in the chair, we had the chair back, so if I leaned backwards, I'd feel the chair back, but here we have to pay attention to the alignment of our spine and not letting the weights pull us down or lean us backwards. Let's do 4 more. In and out. Last one all together. Up and down. So we're only going to use, actually we won't use the dumbbells for this first piece because we're going to do the leg part of the exercise and then we'll put it together with 1 dumbbell, 1 leg. So in our chair, we alternated the leg extension. Now we're going to do it all on 1 leg. So again, touch the chair lightly if that allows you to balance while you do this exercise. It's more challenging than in the chair because this leg is doing the work. Inhale, exhale, 2 more. Okay. And then we'll do our other leg. Check your posture. Leaning. Tighten that thigh. Again, it can be down here and lower. As long as you're going as straight as your knee will let you go. The contraction of your quad. Bring that foot back to the floor and pick up 1 dumbbell. So we're going to use the inside leg. So I just had this leg moving. So I'm going to come to this side of my chair so that I can go back to the first leg that was lifting. Yeah. This time we'll have to be on the side of the chair that is on our unmoving hand. So this hand can be here if we need to. So I'm going to stretch this leg out and do a curl at the same time. So remember, we said it was harder when we move 1 body part when we're balancing. Now we're moving 2 opposite limbs, and that should really challenge you. So again, feel free to touch something that's stable. We get 1 more. Yeah. Good. And then I'll come to this side so that I'm working the left leg and the right arm. Good. And you could just do 1 part of this. So if you wanted to just stand still and do your curl, that would be fine too. Find that you have to control this weight on the way down, otherwise it pulls me off balance. 2 more. Good. All right, we're going to move into our posture muscles. So first we want to turn our rotator muscles on because they're the muscles that help move the scapula as our upper arm moves. So first we're going to move our upper arm into external rotation. So I'm pulling the weights out but keeping my elbows at my side. And this is the one when we're using our bands that we actually have resistance when we're doing that. Now our resistance is trying to pull our arms down. So we're using the same muscles that we did our bicep curl to hold our elbows at 90 degrees and roll our upper arm out and in. And again, we're doing that without popping forward to get there. Staying nice and still. Good. Now we're going to do our hinge forward from the hips so I can make sure everybody's form is good. But I know you all know how to do this one without rounding your back. So I'm going to soften my knees just a little, but I'm not going to squat down. I'm going to hinge forward from my hips and then stand up tall. So it's important not to let the weights pull you into this position because then your back is it's not going to feel good as you come up. And then I could also turn sideways. So you can see that the hips have to push backward. And I have to keep a little bit of tension between my shoulder blades, just like I do when I'm standing up tall. Breathing in and out. So this is actually a glute and hamstring exercise. One more time, I'm not pulling myself up with my back, I'm tightening up the back side of my legs and buttocks. Now we'll add a row to that exercise. So we'll only need one. And you can either use your opposite thigh or you could use the chair. So I'm going to come over and do it this way. So it usually works a little better with this foot back when I lean forward. And now I have a straight back as I come up into the row, pulling the elbow past the ribs toward the ceiling. At the bottom, I'm not letting it yank me down. So control the way down, pull on the way up. I can feel most of the weight in the front leg. I have this lunge position, so I'm in that glute as well. Let's finish these with 3 more. Good. Everybody's keeping their body nice and still and just moving the arm and the scapula. Good. All the way up. And we'll switch sides. So I'll do the demo with the chair and come around on this side. So whatever hand is on the chair, that's the leg that's in front. And then I pull here. Now remembering, if I'm keeping my spine straight, that means all the way through the neck. So I don't want to have my head hanging like this, because that puts tension in the back of the neck. So looking out in front a little bit rather than at my foot. Squeeze the shoulder blade in, release the weight down. Nice. Our last 3 here. 2. Last time. And all the way up. Now we're going to change that work to the front leg. So this time we can be next to our chair again. So we have the hand here. And I'm going to put, oh, I'm going to come back to this side. I'm going to change hands. And so my opposite foot is in front. If my legs aren't very far apart, then I'm going to bend both legs just a little bit into a small lunge. If I want to go deeper, I've got to put that back foot back further. And I'm going to end up on the toes of the back foot and the whole flat foot of the front foot. So I'm going to turn sideways again so that the recording will show. Or again, we can just do a small one. This is a balance exercise. 2 more. Good. So if we change the front foot, we're going to switch which arm we're holding the weight. Set ourselves up. Start small and make sure that your knee is going to feel okay. If you find that it's going into your knee, just make sure you're not putting your knee out over your toes. So I'm sinking right down into my heel, as if I'm going to kneel down on the floor. That's right. Front heel pressing in, back heel is lifted. 3, 2, and last one. Well, that was good for a different exercise because we've been over at the bar lately with our bands helping to hold us, so that was a good challenge. Let's go back to that split stance, but have our feet closer together and see how that affects your balance. So whatever foot you want to start with in front. I'm going to be on a tightrope. I can make it be more like I'm walking a plank. So you decide if this is too wobbly for you, you can widen your feet a little. We're going to lift up and pause at the top and then lower down. So when we did our heel raises in the chair, we weren't moving our body weight, so this will be a little bit more challenging for our calves, but also for our balance. 3, 2, last one. And then we're going to switch the front foot, see if you can get the toe and heel close to each other, and then lift and pause. Lower down. Good. It's good when we find an exercise where we feel a little bit of wobble. We don't tip over because that's activating more of your muscles to correct that unsteadiness. One more. Up and down. Okay. So we worked the front of our arm by pulling, and now we want to do some pushing exercises. So if we were over near the bar, we could use our band to push with. But here, we're going to do the pushing behind us. You could do this one, but a lot of times that bothers people's shoulders. So if we do one arm at a time behind us, that usually works better. Feel free, you can always do this seated, or we'll come right back to the same position we were in for our row. So I'm leaned over my front leg, I have the weight in that front foot, and I'm going to pull the elbow up and then straighten my arm behind me. I don't have to bring this all the way to the shoulder because see how that moves my elbow down? I want to keep the elbow high so that the work is being done from the tricep rather than the shoulder. Yes, slow push. Okay. So 3 more. And then we're going to switch to the other arm. You want to count yourself. We do usually somewhere between the 10 and 12 range, depending on if you're moving at the same rate as I am. Get careful how much you bend that elbow. Check the position of the head. Do our last 3. Back. Good. Let that weight pull you down. Good. And all the way up. All right. So, if we bring our arms out in front when we're standing, we're using the front of the shoulder. If we go back into that bent forward position and we move our arms out in front, we'll use the back of the shoulder. So let's try that one today. Again, I can turn sideways. I'm going to have both feet hip width apart this time, and I'm going to come into that forward hinge that we did with the weights, but we don't need any weight for this one. You're going to bring one arm forward and down, and then the other one. And I'm stopping before I actually use my body to get the arm higher. So it doesn't matter if your arm comes all the way to your head or not. Bring it wherever it will go to the front. Now you could do this with both arms, but I find that sometimes it gets into my neck a little more that way. You can try it and see how it feels for you. And if it feels more neck than shoulder, switch back to the alternating arms. Let's go again. And then one more each side. Reach, nice straight arms, and reach. Good. Did you think that one was easy? Yeah. Now, you could use a really light dumbbell, but usually people have weight that's too heavy to go out in front. So to make it harder, both arms coming together will way more. You're not complaining, right?
Oh,
You're just saying. Yes, compared. So now we're going to take the arms in different directions, and then we'll also do our lunging in different directions, because we talked about moving our hips all the way over. So I'm going to give you the option of adding in squats. I know that some people's knees don't do well with squats, but if you're going to squat, you want to be in front of your chair. And usually what I'll do is I'll start all the way down so I know the chair is there to catch me. So even if you decide not to squat during this exercise, we'll all be in the same position. My feet are a little bit wider than they are when I'm just standing, and my toes are up slightly. You could take both dumbbells here, but if that ends up being too heavy in this exercise, you could use one like this. And we're going to do an upright row unless that bothers your neck and shoulder, then you can change it to a curl. Okay? Now, we'll stand up. And then you could stay standing and do this upright row. Or every time the weight goes down, you could bring your hips down toward the chair and stand. Yeah. Good. Now, can you see with that chair there that we allow our hips to move backward? If the chair isn't there, we do this funny looking squat like this. So no, the chair is there, even if you're not touching it. Good. That way sink into your heels. And when you come up, make sure you don't pull the weights past your chest. Your elbows should be just a little higher than the dumbbells. Good. And 3, 2, last one. Good. All right, so we'll set these down and we're going to do a core exercise in the chair, and then we'll compare that with the standing core exercise, which will turn into a balance exercise one more time. So if we scoot forward to the edge of the chair and then put our shoulders back, it's different than being in a slouch like this. So I'm actively holding my abs in, keeping my body still as I pull the knee toward the chest. I'm not holding my chest down. The work is being done from the hips and lower abdominals. I always like to give people the option, if they want to make it harder, then you put one foot down as the other one is lifting, and then you almost feel like you're going to come out of your chair. Yeah. So if that doesn't feel good in your lower back, go back to this one where you touch the foot down before you lift the other one. And let's do 4, 3, 2, and last one. Set it down. And then let's do one more of those stretches where we do let our back arch. And we take off that tension here. And then we're going to come to standing so that we can work our core while we balance. So on that exercise, we brought our knees straight up, just like we did at the beginning with our march. And then remember, we marched out here with our legs. So that's the position we're going to lift the leg. So I'm going to take the same hand as the leg, and I'm going to bring the elbow toward that knee. So this time, you can lean over a little. You're doing a side crunch. So my bottom ribs are coming closer to this hip. You don't have to touch your elbow there. And be careful not to hold your head, just let the head follow the arm. Yeah. And you can go faster on the way down if you're losing your balance. 2, and 1. Okay. So just in case we need our chair, we can move over to this side. So this arm is free if we need it. And then I'm going to bring the knee up and the elbow down. And that stays closer between the rib cage and the hips on the left side of the waist. Exhale down, inhale up, 2, and 1. Okay. All right, we're going to do a little rotation. So the first one, we're going to actively turn our body. So this would be one we use the band at the wall. I'm not going to hold the dumbbell today. I'm going to have you cross your arms and just use the weight of the arms out here. Now we're only going to turn so far because I don't want you to use your hip yet. We'll do that after. So now I'm going to turn this way, only as far as I can go without my hips coming with me. Okay. Can you feel the side of your waist pulling around in here? The head follows. Exhale, stay tall. Inhale, center. Good. So this actually creates tension to get us to twist. We'll do one more to each side, and then we'll see how we can make this into a release of those muscles in our back. So you can even widen your feet a little more, take the arms out straight, and now I'm not going to pull with my waist, I'm going to use my arms to help bring me around and allow that heel to lift a little so that your hips are turning, and then just pick a pace that feels good for your back. Releasing the tension by using a little momentum with the arms. And one more each side. Good. Roll the shoulders. And we're going to do a side stepping lunge. You can hold weight or not. If you feel like you might need the chair to balance you as you step to one side, you can be behind your chair. Otherwise, you can hold the weight in your opposite hand. So if I'm going to step to the right, I'll have my left hand. And I'm going to step over and then sink down into this foot and push up. So I always do the hip hinge before I do this exercise so that nobody's going like this forward, but they're bending at the hip and knee. Again, if it's small, you don't need a very big step. If you're going to go down lower, you take a little bigger step. You want to try a couple of them with a balance at the top. You have to be careful how much you push off so that you can balance here. Push off and then try to balance here. One more. Push off and balance. Good. All right, we'll do the other side. So I've switched hands. I'm going to step out this way. Again, you don't even have to lean forward. You can just take a big step and push off. Both feet should be pointing forward and flat on the floor, so I don't want to let this other foot roll over. And if you want, you can add balance. Step. A chair. Some candy. One more. Good. All right. So let's think. We've moved the shoulders in different directions and our spine and our legs. So I think we'll come back down to the chair again. And we're going to do that quick march again, just to get the blood flowing through, flushing any of that through the body, getting the blood to move so it doesn't settle into the legs. Got 5 more seconds. Let's push again. 3, 2, and 1. Oh, good. Up and down. Oh, that's harder than it sounds. So we're going to do our rotations without any weights, and we're going to add the march to it. So Actually, my feet are hip width apart. We already did the one coming out to the side. So this time we're going to turn our upper body, marching with the right leg and then coming over toward it with the left elbow. Good. And then switch. So when we're standing with both feet on the floor, we've got those muscles activated. Now we really are getting big rotation. One elbow pulled back as the other arm is over toward the opposite knee. Let's do one more to each side. Good. Center. So, trying to think of some of the moves that we've been doing with the band, and we can take these in place. So, if we take the arms out to a 90-degree bend, and then flip the hands up and down without moving our elbows, we're back to the rotator. And so anytime that you're moving the upper arm, you're engaging those rotators. So this is one way to roll the arm down or in and up. One more. Good. And then we're going to do a squeeze with the arms and then an opening and stretching. So when the arms come out, the shoulder blades actually squeeze in. And we'll do that 2 more times. So just the weight of the arm starts to give you a little challenge. Now let's change it to reaching up. My palms are facing out. Turn them in. Drop the arms down. Open the arms out. Reach up. Here's where the arms turn and down. Open, reach, turn and down. One more. Now reverse. Up. Turn them out. Lower them and squeeze them in. Reach up. Yeah, it's a little brain cheeser too, which is good for us. Up, out, down. Last time. Yeah, anything with those patterns that makes us think a little more. Bring them down, roll the shoulders. So that gives me an idea of one other exercise. You can do it with or without a weight because this weight will be going overhead. So we want to make sure that it's not going to be too heavy. So we did this one standing already where we did the opposite leg extension. But this time I want you to alternate legs and stay with the same arm. So now switch to the other leg. Good. So now we've got this new pattern and we can see that the legs fall into the alternating and the arm stays the same. Let's just do that same pattern with the other arm. So opposite leg and then we switch legs. Yes. Feels odd at first, but then start to get used to alternating at the bottom and staying with the same arm, pushing up. Last time. Good. And then bring that down. So we'll do this one without a weight because we're going to have both arms here. So this is going to be our new pattern. We're going to take the right leg out and we're going to alternate our arms. So the right leg goes into leg extension and I use one arm. And then the right leg goes again and I switch to the other arm. Now if you lose focus, all of a sudden your legs will start switching. Yeah. So I'm now thinking about just switching the arms and that leg just kicks out. Everybody's still on that same leg? All right, now you can change legs. So now the left one goes up. The left one goes again, and I'm switching the arms. There we go. we'll do the last two here. Good, and bring it down and roll again. Right. So there's a whole series we could do, you know, the arm moving in a different direction than the leg, and all of those. They actually have shown that those work really well for dementia, Parkinson's, any of those things where the brain doesn't connect with the muscles. So if we do them, maybe that'll help prevent any of those issues in the future. So we'll try to add those in once in a while. So let's go into a little stretch. If I move forward, I have room to clasp my hands behind me. And then squeeze the shoulder blades so that you're opening up the front of the chest. So this is a release you can do if you're sitting at a desk for a while or playing cards, bridge, any of those games, to release what happens to us when we're sitting over time. And then we want to go back to that stretch we did at the beginning for the neck. So I noticed when my head went in one direction, it was really tight. So I'm going to actually use the hand to give me a little more stretch. The opposite arm can come out to the side. Don't pull too hard on the neck, just hold that pressure and bring this arm either down or behind you. And now you can feel a little bigger stretch. Muscles are all nice and warm, so they should loosen up a little bit more. Now we're going to take that into a shoulder stretch. So let go of the head and reach this arm behind your neck or shoulders and try to just walk the other hand up toward it a little bit. Now you might only be able to do the stretch with one arm and not having both arms going behind you. Okay, and then release. So now we're going to bring the opposite arm up, so I can go this way. And this hand will come. Once I feel the stretch, I bring this arm out and it feels like I can go a little further with my head before I reach down or behind me. Stretch side of the neck. Now let go of the head, but keep the arm up here and reach it behind the neck if you can. And then the other hand goes up to try to feed it between your shoulder blades. Yeah, and it doesn't work to force it. If I go up higher with this arm and it pulls my shoulder forward, it pinches in the socket. Yeah. So you don't want to go really any higher than just bringing that hand behind you. But you would hate to lose that range where you can reach the arm behind you. So even if that particular exercise doesn't work, every once in a while, just clasp the hands behind you that way. It'll work. We can take our band for the next shoulder exercise. Because this one isn't stretchy, we're going to have to go really wide with our hands. And if you can't get it behind your head, I just keep sliding my hands out a little further until I can feel, yeah, the whole. So I'm leaning a little, there we go. And then we'll bring it back up. And let's move our hands a little closer together so that we can do our side bend. So if I pull with my right arm, I can move over and stretch the left side of my ribs without falling out of my chair. Again, if it doesn't feel good up here, you can always put it like this and then lean the other way. And back up. And same thing, if you want to lower your arms down to rotate, you can do that. And then to the other side, going with the arm to go to twist. And then let go of the band. And this time we're either going to do our shoulders up and down here, or harder is up and down here. Pull the shoulders to the ears, drop them down. My arms are still staying up. Now you can connect with the scapula, elevating and depressing. Good. your band and we'll do the leg stretches. So we're going to go around the foot where it won't slip off. Get a good grip so that when you lift up, you can really feel the arms holding the weight of the leg. Again, you don't have to come very high, but if you need more stretch, you can lift it a little higher. Pull the toes towards you a little more. Feel that stretch into your calf. Breathe. Take the leg out to the side. You can either keep it lifted and come out, or you can take it down on the floor. But you want to feel the stretch in that inner thigh. So I'm trying not to turn my body. Just pull the leg out. Now, if I cross midline and this leg is in the way, I can lower that leg a little bit, take the opposite hand and pull it over a little bit. And that stretches the muscles that we used in that balance stability work. And then we'll put the foot back down, but keep the legs straight. Walk down the strap so that your chest is coming closer to your thigh, and you can pull on the toes a little with your strap. Relax and take a nice deep breath. Letting go of tension. Keep the legs straight, but slide the hands back so you can sit up tall. And then use one side of your strap to roll the leg one way and the other. So it's different than just moving the foot. I've got the whole leg internally rotating. You can use your strap to get this leg to either cross over on your thigh, or if that doesn't feel good, you can keep it down lower on your shin. And then either put a little tension into that stretch or lean your body forward from the hips a little bit to increase the tension in the hip. The other place that we worked was the front of the leg, so we want to stretch that. You can use this strap around the ankle if you need to. And then we're going to turn sideways. Sometimes this is enough stretch to just bring the knee down toward the floor. But if you need more, either grab the strap or your shoe and then lift your foot up a little bit. Try to stay nice and upright here. Good. We're going to go through those stretches on the other side. Wrap it around the arch of the foot. Get a good grip. Lift the legs straight. Pull the toes toward you. And then you decide if you need more. And then out to the side. Again, lowering it down if it feels better toward the floor. And then across midline, so just that bottom leg a little bit. And then we're going to take this back to the floor, heel to the floor, legs straight. Walk down toward the ankle, lean over the thigh, and then relax your head and take a nice focused breath here. Release. And then sit up tall and use the strap to roll the leg in and out. One more. And then we're going to pick this foot up and cross it over the shin or the thigh. And let the knee drop out. Or lean in. And then our quad stretch, we're going to turn this way. Slide that around the ankle if you want to use the strap. Drop the knee down, and then the last couple minutes, we're going to use that squishy ball that I had you grab. If you don't have a ball at home, you could do this with a rolled up towel. So the first one, even when you lean forward, you actually don't need to have anything here, but this is going to support some of our weight. So I'm going to turn sideways so you can see a little bit more. That when I come forward, I can let my arms and head hang. And now I'm going to breathe into the back of my ribs, because so often we take a deep breath right here. But when we're in this position, you can feel that deep inhale. Rest your rib cage out through your back. And then the tension releases when you exhale all the air. Inhale again. All the air out. And then bring yourself up. And we'll use the ball to bring into the side of our ribs. So if I have the ball at my side ribs, not all the way under my arm, I can let this arm just rest on the ball. So when I inhale, I want to feel the ball move. I might see the arm move, but I'm not moving my arm by doing this. I'm moving it by breathing in deeply. So my ribs are pushing out, and then exhale. Inhale. Push out into the ball with that breath. Exhale. One more time. So the side of the room. Inhale as much air as you can. That's right. Exhale all the air. Good. Switch it to the other side. We don't do too many breaths because I don't want you to hyperventilate. So let that arm rest heavy. Inhale. Inhale. Exhale. Your own pace. 2 more times. Last one. Set the ball down, and we'll do our last breath with our arms coming up overhead. So again, fill the lungs up, but bring the hands over the head if you can. Hold that breath briefly as you bring the palms together. Exhale, lower the hands and the shoulders, ending at heart center. Great job, ladies. Thanks for coming.